It's the Hoffman Show. We're on the Team 980, always live as well on the free Odyssey app. Streaming live on YouTube at the Team 980. And it's Victory Monday, Anthony.
Finally.
Where'd my phone go? I need my phone. Oh, there it is. It's on the floor over here. It's Victory Monday. We need our phone to let us into our notes because that's where First and 10 lives. Also, Anthony, I don't know when this chair got here, but we got a new chair over here. It's quite comfortable.
You don't have any armrest?
I don't have any armrests, but honestly, I'm all right with it. Like, the seat is so much comfier. It's like, is the level right? We all good? I think we're all set, Anthony. I think the show's rolling. I think, especially since we're only on until 6:15 tonight, because Georgetown Hoops is playing, that we better get going. Hit the button!
It's time to get the breakdown started. 1, 2, 3, First up, 10 observations.
Mr. Good guy and just boom, put it right on the ground.
It's First and 10.
Let's get into an offensive revival for Cliff Kingsbury, Jaden Daniels, and the Washington Commanders.
Number 1.
That, boys and girls, was the offense that we saw earlier this year. And there were two main components that really made me have that feeling while watching film that I was like, oh, yeah, they're back. Like, this is the same thing. And that's not to say that guaranteed these 4 games after the bye, they're going to come out and be able to do everything they did yesterday. And their highest output of the season, points-wise, 42 on Tennessee, a defense that had been playing at a top 10 level over the last couple of weeks. Not yesterday. And boy, did their offense and special teams not help them out. But there were two main factors that made it feel like the old Commanders offense from earlier in this season. And it starts with the running game. And Cliff Kingsbury had a fantastic plan. And I'm sure they saw some stuff on tape that they thought they could really take advantage of. And that was in what we typically call sub runs. So in sub defense, a.k.a. not your base, most teams are going to go 4 down. So you get 11 personnel, 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end, 1 running back. So 1 running back, 1 tight end, 1 and 1. That's 11 personnel. And then Tennessee matches that with nickel, 5 defensive backs. They take a linebacker off the field, and this is a 3-4 defense in its base. So now instead of being in a 3-down front with 2 outside linebackers, which kind of winds up playing like a 5 on the defensive line a lot of times, you're back down to 4. And Tennessee also plays in that really, really widely. Their splits are mega wide. So they might have a 1 technique who's in between the center and the guard, and a 3 technique who's over between the guard and the tackle, and then their ends are way the hell out wide. And that's a good look to run into. You can hit any angle you want to, and they try to be aggressive. They had some wham stuff in there to kind of use that aggressiveness against the Tennessee Titans, something teams have done to the Commanders quite a bit, if we're being transparent about it this year. And they hit those blocks. They were able to fire off the ball because of the space that was there. And just it was a really well-called game by Cliff. And then the Brian Robinson of it all, where he just gets downhill quickly. He's into the second level. He's smashing into people. I mean, just a beautifully executed game plan. Cliff also did some really smart stuff with personnel that we'll continue to get to in terms of, hey, when we went a little bit heavier, we passed more out of it. So they did a good job of mixing and matching, subverting expectation, and clearly scouted things very, very well on Tennessee.
Number 2.
And the second thing that made it feel like the Commanders' offense of 2024, when the Commanders' offense of 2024 has been at its absolute best, was Jaden Daniels took perfectly covered plays, things that in structure are defensive wins, and turn them into successful plays. So 2 examples. First quarter, 5:01 to go. The Commanders call a shot, and it's one of my favorite shot plays in football. It's a tight end leak. So they try to bring everyone to first of all, they boot to the left, or run action to the left, boot back to the right. So now all of a sudden, the play is all flowing to the right. You try to get a deep post to the right. If that's there, you step into the thing and let it go. Typically, that's not going to be there because the deep safety, who's there in case of emergency, is like, I see what you're doing. And then you get the safety going to cover the post. So what do you do with that? Well, you hope that that backside corner either follows the receiver who's going to sprint across the formation in man coverage, or he crashes down into the run fake, and then you take your tight end from the front side of the play, the right side, and you leak him back across. Like he pretends like he's blocking. Oh, no, I got caught up in the wash. And then he just sneaks and leaks up the seam on the other side. Well, they shut down the post. Ben Sinnott's trying to run the leak. They shut it down. They shut down all the short options, and Jaden Daniels runs for 5 yards. 2nd and 5, we're good. Offense is on track. Cool. Great. That's demoralizing for a defense. 2nd and 5 means you lost the down, and you covered everything perfectly. And if 2nd and 5 means you've lost the down, what happens when you got in 2nd and 3? Well, that's when you definitely lost. Commanders get the ball back off the quick change. It's 19 seconds to go in the first quarter. First play of that drive after the turnover. And they run another play action boot. This one also rolling out to the right. And it's your typical play action boot where you then have a 3-level read. So you have someone running in the flat, someone running kind of a middle, 10 yards-ish towards the sideline with the quarterback, and then a deeper route also breaking out towards the sideline where you have the quarterback with 1, 2, 3 receivers in his vision. Can I hit one? Answer's no, because they cover it all. Here's the bad news. If you're covering the flat, that means the flat player is with the receiver, and everyone else is chasing. And a lot of times, for most quarterbacks, your defensive lineman can kind of get down, or your linebackers, even if they got caught up in the run fake initially, can get back to the quarterback. Not if the quarterback's Jaden Daniels. He runs for 7 yards. It's now 2nd and 3. Jaden only had 34 yards rushing, I believe was the total in this game. It felt like he had 70 because all of the rushes were so unbelievably impactful, and they helped bail the offense out of bad plays. And not even, I want to say bad plays, unsuccessful plays. Things where, hey, defense got us because the other guys get paid too. Denard Wilson's a good defensive coordinator. They've got good defensive players over there. That's all fantastic. Didn't matter because Jaden Daniels is faster than your guys. And that simple fact was enough to propel the Commanders just to play after play, drive after drive, score after score. 21 points in the first quarter. Another drive that starts in the first, finishes with a touchdown in the second. It could have been worse. Zane Dallas missed 2 field goals. We'll talk about it. They score 14 in the fourth, and it is 42 points for the Commanders' offense. And it all started with a guy that you, of course, know and love.
Number 3.
And that is Terry McLaurin. We talked a lot about Terry. Obviously, we didn't have the show a ton last week because of the holiday. But we talked about Terry quite a bit on Take Command and on this show for the show that we had. And we talked about the left side, right side thing and the alignments and what does Cliff need to do. Well, they come out on the first play of the game. They line Terry up on the right. And sure enough, Houston, Jesus Christ, how many AFC South teams am I? Anthony, are we just playing AFC South roulette here?
I think so.
And eventually I'll say the team that they smashed yesterday. The Titans.
There you go.
Titans, that's who they played. All those teams. AFC South's a weird division, man.
It is.
It's a very weird division. Anyway, the point is, the Titans, who the Commanders smashed yesterday in smithereens, they played this really soft quarters coverage. Terry runs like a 9-yard hitch, catches it, is able to fall forward, bang, first down. Terry's on the board. Love to see it. They moved him around, had other stuff in the slot that was really, really good. Obviously in the red zone. And even on the 2 touchdowns, those were 3rd down in the red zone. When the situation mattered, Terry McLaurin was the target. And there's even a couple of other plays where I think it's designed for Terry, and Jaden made other decisions on 3rd down. And I'm like, ooh, I might have thrown Terry there. That probably would have been better. But in a game where he had 8 catches on 8 targets for 73 yards, it felt like he had about 150. Because the actual catches he made were so impactful. And his long was only 16. It wasn't like he was stretch the field, 70-yard bomb Terry McLaurin in this one. He didn't break a slant for 60. He just consistently made the plays that needed to be made, including in the red zone, including on 3rd down. Excellent, excellent usage of your best player by Cliff Kingsbury. great execution by Terry, 8 catches on those 8 targets, and credit to Jaden for knowing, hey, big spot, let me look for my guy, let me trust him. And no better example than the slant touchdown where Jaden just absolutely rips a ball. Contested catch, crazy good catch by Terry McLaurin to continue that scoring rampage early for the Commanders. That is how the Commanders offense got back on track. We got even more notes on the offense next, a couple on defense, and then there are a couple of other not-so-great things we got to talk about as well from this game. Mostly fantastic, though, a 42-19 win, and we're talking about it on a Victory Monday, a Tell the Truth Monday. Your calls at 4:30 here on the Hoffman Show on the Team 980 and always live on the free Odyssey app. It's the Hoffman Show. We are always live on the Team 980 and the free Odyssey app. Coming up at 5 o'clock, Michael Phillips. Really, actually, that was the key to the game yesterday, Anthony. The key to the game yesterday was Michael Phillips' return to Northwest Stadium. He had not been there in a couple of weeks. He was back. they won.
That's good juju.
Yeah, so we gotta say, hey Phillips, where were you? What are your plans for the next couple of home games? You got any travel plans that you want to let us know about? So we'll ask Michael Phillips those important questions at 5 o'clock. We're going to stalk Michael Phillips for his travel plans coming up at 5 o'clock. Your calls at 4:30, but let's continue with our first and 10 observations in the first, 2 segments of the show as we get things started on a Victory Monday.
Number 4.
One other thing I want to highlight from the offensive performance is the way that Cliff Kingsbury sequenced plays in this game. And it started on the very first drive. He comes out, and those 3 plays are all in 12 personnel. So it's 1 wide receiver, 2 tight ends. And while he will occasionally mix up the people there, sometimes the receivers, or I should say 1 running back, 2 tight ends. He sometimes has Ertz and Bates. Sometimes it's Bates and Sinnott. Sometimes the receivers, because then you got 2 of those. Sometimes it's McLaurin and Brown. Sometimes McCaffrey's out there. Like, they mix up who it is. But the defense typically is going to match the personnel grouping. So they often are getting tired from being on the field, even if the offense is subbing humans, but they're not subbing position for position, if that makes sense. So the nickel defense is like, oh, it's 11. Even though the Commanders have 3 different wide receivers out there, maybe a different tight end, it's still 11. So they're going to get tired. So one, the way Cliff Stacks plays from a personnel standpoint was really, really smart. And when you can get a couple of first downs and get in tempo and create that urgency, then it really, really starts to multiply in terms of the force that has on a defense. But then you also just see kind of these sequences where they run similar looking things, and the defense, you can tell, is just like, I don't know, it looked like the last thing, but they did something different. So they used a lot in this game, this little short motion where the back would start on one side, he'd go cut real hard 3-4 yards across to the other side of Jaden, and then he would come back downhill in front of Jaden on the snap, and Jaden would either hand it off or fake it. Well, there's off of that single action, they ran inside zone, they ran counter. I'm pretty sure they ran multiple versions of power, or I'm going to call power plays where various players are pulling out in front of the back. Sometimes it's GT, where it's the guard and the tackle. Sometimes it's GG, where the guards get out in front, like more of a sweep action. Sometimes it was the center and the backside guard. So, like, you have all these different combinations and of runs that all start the exact same. And the run fits for the defenders are going to be different on all of them, but it's a similar vision path for B-Rob, and it creates a ton of problems because you just don't know which one is coming. So the setup is the same, the execution is different. They also ran down or threw the ball downfield off of that, just regular kind of easy play action pass. They ran a screen at one point off of that action. So that was really nice. They also would use those different personnel groupings in different stacks and then line them up completely differently. Unless they used it late in the game, I haven't gotten all the way through the offensive film yet, but I have charted personnel for this one. Midway through the third quarter, they haven't used 21 personnel once, which is their 2 back, 1 tight end. But they've lined up like it's 21 multiple times, both with Olamide Zaccheaus in the backfield as kind of a 2-back set in the way they've used Austin Eckler previously, and a more traditional fullback set, sometimes with John Bates, sometimes with Ben Sinnott. Talk about being in hell if you're a defense. It's just all swirling around you, and you're like, what personnel are they in? What's the formation? Why is that guy there? Like, Cliff, when they can get going on first down, which they did in this game, and in part of that is probably because they were throwing the ball some, like they were really keeping the Titans off balance. There's a lot of stuff to get into on that front, but the plays start to stack, the pressure starts to mount, and Cliff really got rolling, and it was really, really impressive and really, really fun to watch.
Number 5.
One other Brian Robinson note. B-Rob was awesome in pass protection. Like, he was obviously fantastic as a runner in this game, had over 100 yards rushing, and kind of said, I'm good for the day. Or I'm sure they told him, like, hey, dude, you're good for the day midway through the third quarter. So, you know, if he's just getting the same carries that Chris Rodriguez gets late, he winds up with over 25 carries, probably over 150 yards. And as is, without getting to go against the tired defense and stack yardage or pop another big one late in the game, he was 16 for 103 and a touchdown, including the 40-yarder, which obviously was the touchdown. But he also had blitz pickups that were not just like hey, that was a great job to see it, but he smashed dudes. Like, Jaden's got time. And the complete nature of Brian Robinson as a back was on display in this game, which was really, really fun to watch.
Number 6.
Then there's Chris Rodriguez, who got to come in and just be the absolute hammer at the end of this thing. I am now, let's see, the last play that I charted in this game is the interception, actually, that Jaden threw where it hits off Ertz's hands. So that was with 6:40 to go in the third quarter. Chris Rodriguez doesn't have a carry yet at 6:40 in the third quarter. So by the time they get the ball back, we're under the 6-minute mark, meaning you are more than, actually, you're already, because they're 15-minute quarters, so 7.5 minutes. You're way under the halfway mark of the third quarter. And he finished with 13 carries for 94 yards. What a story. A guy who was cut for roster space a week ago, and they were like, hey, man, we're really sorry we have to do this. And he's like, this is where I want to be. I'll be back, like, as long as you'll have me. They signed him back after the Eckler injury, and he not only is ready to go, but puts on this performance. That dude, you can't say enough about him and the way he's handled himself throughout a tough season where he's been the fourth back on a mostly 3-back team, just doing his work on the practice squad, staying ready, and in multiple games where they've needed him, he has come through. Credit, salute, great job, Chris Rodriguez. I hope you get to stay with the team the rest of the year. You deserve it, and you're playing excellent, excellent football. One other guy who's playing great.
Number 7.
Kind of, but in a special way, and boy, is it special. Frankie Louvu, according to PFF, graded below 60 in coverage, as a tackler, and as a run defender in this game. But he was so good as a pass rusher, he was the Commanders' 4th best defender, according to PFF. And again, PFF is what it is. It's the best grading system we have that's publicly available. And that also feels, in this particular case, 100% correct. The splash plays he makes really sell this defense when it's at its best, or power this defense when it's at its best. Because this defense will bend. It will give up some yardage. It will give up some completions. It will frustrate you because they are understaffed. They are under-talented. And they're still, I think, coming together week over week and slowly but surely have become a pretty reliable unit, but they're certainly not elite. When he starts getting going and sacks and shooting gaps and making plays in the backfield, that's what turns drives for them. You know, they give up 3 first downs. Louvu makes a sack. Now you're in 2nd and 15. Now you're dead. Now that drive's over. And that's the kind of stuff that Louvu does on a really regular basis. He did it a ton in this game. Multiple pressures, multiple sacks. Really, really sensational game from Frankie Louvu, despite the fact that he missed some run fits, missed some tackles, and had some balls completed on him. Speaking of guys who have balls completed on him, a couple of negatives, I guess, to end this up. One is specifically a negative. This is just something to flag that I want to flag.
Number 8.
It'd be really easy to ignore this in a win, but Mike Sainristil gave up over 100 yards in this game, and that includes some big plays. The touchdown at the end of the first half is Sainristil. That's not a good play by a guy who you're going to be relying upon and is going to see more action after the bye. Because I do think we have gotten to the point where he is going to play opposite of Marshawn Lattimore, where he has passed Benjamin St. Juste. Obviously, Juice splitting time with Michael Davis. They could have chosen, they said that's about Davis and how well he's been playing and practicing. Well, they could have done that with Sainristil. They could bump Sainristil inside sometimes and have Davis opposite of St. Juste. They didn't. They left Sainristil outside. They left Noah in the slot, and they said, hey, Juice, you're the guy who's going to split. And they've handled that really well, and I think both guys have played really well since they did that. But for Sainristil, if now all of a sudden the guy on the other side is Marshawn Lattimore, you're going to see a lot of action. And Mikey's made some nice plays on the ball, including some plays in this game. I think throwing at Sainristil comes with a level of risk that is higher than basically every other DB on this team because his ball skills are so good. But you got to be in the vicinity of the ball to be able to make a play on the ball. And he does get beaten clean sometimes. And while I love his physicality and his toughness as a run defender, he graded, by the way, at a 95 as a run defender in this game, which is really hard to do, and it's exceptionally hard to do as a corner. It's something to kind of stick a pin in and hope that we don't have to worry about that when he gets targeted more because Lattimore's on the other side, that some teams aren't going to pick on a guy who is a rookie, is undersized, is playing tremendously well considering all of those things, but he was supposed to play inside. He's playing outside, and so we'll see how that goes. That's just hey, stick a pin in it. It's fine for this game. They got away with it more than enough. But this is a thing that I think everybody knows is coming.
Number 9.
Zane Gonzalez has kicked his last game for the Commanders. He was on the practice squad. Yesterday was kind of a tryout. If he had played well, I think they would have just said, hey, all right, Zane, you're our guy. Missed 2 kicks. I think they're going to keep fishing for kickers. They're going to have to sign him. They have to sign someone to the regular team, or they might be able to sign someone to a practice squad and call him up multiple times, and that's another way to go about it. But they have got to find another kicker again, which stinks because Seibert was really reliable until he wasn't, and apparently he wasn't in part because he's hurt, and now he's out because he's on IR. The saga of the Commanders' kicking situation continues. Again, this is nobody's fault but Brandon McManus, who, even though the charges against him were dismissed, he was not forthcoming and forthright with the situation in terms of, hey, I'm probably going to be facing a lawsuit. And that is as much compared to the actual allegations that were levied against him, the reason why Adam Peters cut him. That was the right move by Peters. Once he found out it's just a crappy situation, they've done tremendously well to find Seibert. But they got to have to go back into the kicker market again and hope that someone who's probably been cut by another team at this point is available and ready to kick for them coming out of the bye.
Number 10.
Last but not least, we'll talk about this more tonight at 6 p.m. in depth, but Manuel Forbes was cut on Saturday, and Federe Mathis was a healthy scratch for the game on Sunday. It is an absolute miracle that this team can go 2-2 down the stretch and have its first 10-win season in forever when 4 of the last 4 first-round picks, not including this year's in Jaden, and one of their second-round picks, they also didn't have a second-rounder in another one of those drafts, are literally not contributing or not here. Now you got all 4 first-rounders gone from the Rivera era. All 4, 5, 20, 21, 22, 23. Yeah, all 4. All gone. Traded, released. Now Mathis, healthy scratch. Seems like if they want to, make another move on the defensive line or someone else gets healthy or whatever they want to do, like, he's the next guy that's out. He's a healthy scratch. That's how that goes. How is this team any good? It is a true testament to this coaching staff, to Adam Peters to find 30 players to try to fill a barren roster. And then, yeah, of course, Ron didn't go over. He's picking from the same pool of players as everybody else. But, oh, my God, what a nightmare. That just continues to be a reminder. The good news is we're running out of reminders because there just aren't a lot of dudes left on this team that are drafted by the previous regime. And that's just unbelievably ridiculous. That's it for our 1st and 10. 10 observations to start the show on a Victory Monday. When we get back here on the Hoffman Show, we take your calls. It's a Tell the Truth Monday at 301-230-0980. How you feeling heading into the bye? And what's your truth from watching the Commanders smash the Titans 42-19? All right, let's get into it on a Tell the Truth Monday. Your calls at 301-230-0980 and your comments as you stream us live on YouTube at the Team 980. Commanders 42, Titans 19. Will's in South Florida. Will, thanks for checking us out. What you got here on a Victory Monday and a Tell the Truth Monday?
Hell yeah, baby. Hey, thanks for taking the call. I'm just excited. We're back in the win column. And I think the boys just went through that little stretch, which, you know, you think about it, they played 3 defensive monster teams, and they grew up. They grew up. They had to handle adversity. They did what they had to do, snap out of it. We got a full, healthy quarterback. The chosen one is back. He played limited, and I think the coaching staff, Cliff had to, you know, he couldn't open the full weaponry because we had a limited injured quarterback, and everybody forgets about that. So you can see he was healthy yesterday. His legs are back, shifty, back to accuracy. I predict we will go deep into the playoffs. We will be the team, the Cinderella story, and this story is going to go on for a long time, baby. The burgundy and gold are back. We're back, and we're going to make a statement game when we get back from this recovery week. I'm excited, man. This is great to be part of winning football. Hell yeah. Hell to the Skins.
Thanks, Will. I appreciate it. Great call. Love the excitement, and it does feel like they're back, and it does feel very much like Jaden was, like the quickness and all that kind of stuff. And again, I don't know how much of that had to do with the rib. There is some fatigue. There is some incredible team speed that they face. Like, if I'm running against someone who's not fast versus I'm running against Usain Bolt, I'm going to look very different levels of fast. That said, clearly the ability to get out on the edge and the quickness and the agility and just his comfort in reading the game, definitely I think early after the injury, they've kind of admitted they were pulling back some of the playbook. But I also think the bigger factor on some of that stuff is B-Rob. Like, I don't think people forget the rib injury. I actually think that a lot of people talk about the rib injury, I won't say as an excuse, but like that's their number one reason. I think B-Rob, combined to whatever extent the injury affected them, really messed with what they were doing in the run game. Because, like, the zone read game, you have to have the front side threat for the pull to be worth anything. If defensive ends are just like, we're going to sit on Jaden and go ahead and hand the ball to Austin Eckler because he's actually not that good at that run, well, that's not very dangerous. Now, if you're terrified of B-Rob, you're either short a man on the front side of the run because your defensive end stays home for Jaden and B-Rob can get downhill and he reads that really well and hits it hard and gets north and south, or that guy crashes, Jaden pulls it, and now you're out on the edge. So I think the B-Rob factor is the biggest one in terms of the run game and even the quarterback run game. But clearly some of the scrambles and things like that, Jaden looks a little more spry these last 2 weeks. Even against the Cowboys, I thought he showed some of that. Obviously, there was a lot of other problems in that football game. Tell the Truth Monday. Your calls at 301-230-0980. Let's go to Reggie. Reggie, thanks for calling. You're on the Hoffman Show.
Hey, thanks for taking my call, Craig. Hey, Craig, just wanted to touch on some of the stuff we talked about last week. Apparently, Cliff either listening or thought he himself needed to make some adjustments or some changes with Terry going on the right-hand side, not just going on the right, but throwing to him. Also, Jaden being under center. I saw him under center a few times. And then the fake zone read, it looked like a play out of the Ravens with Lamar Jackson where he kind of keeps it and then throws it at the last minute. I thought that's a very effective play right there. For the Commanders, Jaden Daniels down near the goal line. But got to give Cliff some credit, man. He called an excellent game, Craig.
Thanks, Reggie, for the call. Yeah, absolutely. And
absolutely.
I really agree with you. This was one of the most enjoyable games to watch from Cliff, to me, the entire season. And, to an extent, right? They put up 42 points. So, of course, things went really well for them in some respect. But the way that they moved Terry around, the way that they utilized him, the way that they emphasized him, I thought was great, starting on that first play of the game where clearly there's some scouting going on there where it's like, hey, Tennessee has some soft zones. We're going to be able to hit some hitches and things. And they were more prepared for that this week than against Dallas, where, Terry talked a little bit about after the game where he was like, look, last week we did a bad job of kind of taking what they gave us. We went in with a game plan to attack down the field, and Dallas knew that we would probably do that because they were banged up in their secondary, and so they played a bunch of soft zone and said, hey, we're not getting beat deep, and then obviously they didn't. I mean, it's not like they hit a bunch of deep balls yesterday. That's the thing. A lot of the big explosives they had earlier in the season, those came on these big explosive plays down the field, or some of the key plays, the Terry Cincinnati play, all that kind of stuff, these big 50, 60-yard gains. Their longest completion yesterday was 25 yards to Ertz, of all people. Longest completion to a receiver was a 16-yard completion to Terry. They took what the defense gave them, said, hey, you're going to play all this soft stuff? Okay, we're going to take yardage underneath. We're going to hit 2nd and 4. If you still play soft, we'll run the ball down your throat. If you start loading the box a little bit, we'll just get our one-on-ones on the outside, and we'll hit hitches and comebacks, and we're happy to take those. And you can't stop us. You can try to. You're probably going to hold, PI, hold. Like, it was crazy. It was just so ruthlessly efficient. And they did move Terry around a little bit more yesterday. And I think to Reggie's point, they also just made a concerted effort to make him the number one guy. There's certain times where it's like, this is clearly designed for Terry. Because truthfully, I'm looking at PFF charts this stuff. So in terms of moving around, since week 9, actually it even goes back. Typically, Terry lines up in the slot between 6 and 12 times a game. Week 8 was an outlier. He only lined up 4. But most of the time, I'll just go week by week. Week 1, 6. Week 2, 9. Then it's 12, 9, 6, 12, 10, 4, 10, 11, 9, 8, 10. So they got him in the slot 10 times yesterday, which is right around what they normally do. But they lined him up outside right more than they have in any other game this season. Now, it was only 9 times. It's not like he was lining up out wide 25 times and it wasn't like he wasn't predominantly on the left. It was a tweak, not a change. But I think you see the power of that change because also the number of times he lined up in the slot on the right was a season high. That was 5. And then they have a couple of other designations that they use. Slot inside right, that was actually the 5. That was the most he did. Slot outside right, 1. They've done that some of this season. And then kind of an isolated slot, right? If it's a 2 wide receiver slide, 3. So they moved him positionally a little bit more than they have in some other games. And they also, even at times when he was on the left, they would say, hey, you're going to be a receiver on the inside of a bunch, or you're going to be back off the ball, or you're on the ball. So they did some of the stuff that has been really good for them. I mean, Terry is having the best season of his career. The idea that they needed to change everything was always overstated if that's what you want. Oh, they got to make it 50-50. No, they don't. They needed to tweak. And I think Cliff did an excellent job of tweaking and doing it at really important times, targeting Terry at really important times. A ton of his catches came on 3rd down, and that is how you weaponize one of the best receivers in football, is when we got to have it and the other team knows that we want to go to this guy, how do we still get him where it's advantage us? And Cliff did that masterfully yesterday on top of a bunch of other cool stuff that he did. He had, Anthony, what if I told you that multiple times in the game yesterday They had running plays where the wide receivers were lead blockers in the hole.
That wouldn't surprise me. I definitely saw Noah Brown getting physical, dirty, like.
They pulled, if your last name was Brown and you played wide receiver for the Commanders, you were a lead blocker at some point in the game yesterday where you come in motion and then you'd fire at, between the tackle and the guard and B-Rob's following you. Like, they got wild yesterday, and it was fun. It was really, really fun. 301-230-0980. 301-230-0980. It is a Tell the Truth Monday, and we'll get back to your calls next. But first, what's trending, including some breaking news. The Los Angeles Rams have claimed former Washington cornerback, former first-round pick, Emmanuel Forbes. Interesting decision by L.A., who will then take on Forbes' contract. They could have let him obviously go to free agency. If he clears waivers, they can sign him to a new deal. But they are going to take a shot on the former first-round pick and a fresh start for Forbes out in Los Angeles. That is what's trending. I'm Craig Hoffman on the Team 980. It's the Hoffman Show. We're on the Team 980, always live as well on the free Odyssey app. Is this old? Or is someone playing with me? Oh no, this is true. I did hear this in the press conference. The Commanders signed Zane Gonzalez from the practice squad, and I guess they're just going to move forward with him as a kicker.
I mean, earlier today, DQ was asked about the confidence level that he had in him. And
yeah, I thought he was just saying
I did
things because DQ's a nice guy.
Yeah.
But no, they have signed Zane Gonzalez from the practice squad, apparently.
So he has not played his last game then.
Yeah. Well, maybe I'll delete that one out of the on-demand version of 1st and 10. He did kick the ball through the end zone when they needed him to. He does have a big leg. He was good a couple weeks ago. I'm guessing he's probably practiced really well.
I guess.
I would hope so. You think they just kept him for funsies?
Familiarity?
He's a kicker. All due respect, I'm not saying the job of kicker isn't hard, but it's not exactly a mental load. Hey, bro, let Tress know what your signal is when you're ready to kick, and he'll say set hut and then kick the ball through the upright. On kickoff, we'll tell you where to kick it. Cool. Thanks. You know the playbook. Kicker, I think punter is a more intellectually demanding position than kicker. That'd be a fun question for Tress.
I don't know. Maybe.
What's intellectually demanding about kicking? The mental strain of being the kicker, but I'm talking about knowing a playbook.
Oh, okay. That's fair.
Knowing situations. What situation does a kicker have to know that he isn't told exactly what to do beforehand?
I think the kicker has the second most pressure on the team.
Sure, because he's always in point situations, but
Yep.
Again, he's not making any decisions. He's just kicking the ball through the upright or not. Not that that's not hard. It's a very difficult physical task, but the familiarity of a kicker, overrated.
What about when the wind elements or the elements in general are in play?
Same for every single kicker. The coach makes a decision. When the kicker steps out there, he's got to kick it through the uprights.
Yeah.
There's no place. Unless there's a huge plethora of fakes and all of a sudden one of them is he's got to throw it. And that's not going to happen very often. No. All right, so Zane Gonzalez is staying. I'm also, by the way, really surprised that the Rams claimed Emmanuel Forbes. Because unless I don't know anything about waivers anymore, and I swear they've changed these rules a zillion times, I'm pretty sure they take on his full contract. That's what waivers mean, claiming someone on waivers. And he was a first-round pick last year. And so it's not a terrible contract, but if I could just take a flyer on it for the rest of the year, maybe they didn't think they were going to get him otherwise. Maybe other teams, were not or were in on that. Maybe they just really liked him coming out and they think that he's worth it. But I'm pretty sure that's what that means.
Yeah, I'm looking more into it as well.
I'm trying to find his contract. Emmanuel Forbes contract. Yeah. Bring that contract on their payroll. Yes. So Forbes, contract details from over the cap. Dead money history, season history. Why are all these sites not giving me his contract? Dead money, cap charge, 8.5, 4.1. So those are the numbers the next couple of years for whatever. Anyway, the Rams, that's the Rams' problem. It's not the Commanders' problem anymore. Michael Phillips joining us coming up at 5 o'clock. Let's get one more call in here on a Victory Monday. Let's go to Lap. Lap, what's up, man? Hope your holiday was good. What you got on a Victory Monday here and a Tell the Truth Monday?
Hey, what's up, Craig? Hey, man, I just like the way they came back out and played, man. We had some tough 3 games that we lost. We had some winnable games in that stretch too, but the fact we came back, Jalen looks a little much healthier, looks kind of how he looked early in the season, balling out. It was good to see Terry get going, and, I'm excited, man. So I'm hoping, man, we can get serious and focused when we come back from the bye. Everybody get rested up, man, and get back to it, man, and let's make this playoff push.
All right, thanks for the call, Lap. I do think that that's the next challenge, right? Is just to be focused on everything the way that you were before the bye, the way they were able to lock back in. I will say, knowing that, hey, we've got this bye coming up, being on a 4-game losing streak would be terrible is a hell of a way to focus the team. But also knowing that the bye's on the other side for guys to show up like they did, it speaks well to the character of this team. And, Bobby Wagner spoke to them earlier in the week. That was a big thing post-game. And actually have some great sound from Wagner, who yesterday hit 13 straight seasons of 100-plus tackles. And him talking about London Fletcher, that's really good. Anthony, remind me to send that to you in the break. I forgot to email that to you before the show from the locker room yesterday. But overall, the discipline, the maturity of this team, I think, is there. And then also, there's just the reality of the playoff push that you got to do one at a time. Quinn is going to be using a base camp analogy. He kind of previewed that today with the media that, hey, we're not at the bottom of the mountain anymore, but we're not at the top yet either. Let's settle into our task right now, which is doing what we got to do against New Orleans, and that's going to be his message. But this is a team that's going to be in the thick of a playoff race, and suddenly the NFC standings are really, really messy. I was on with Awad earlier today down in Richmond, and he's like, dude, I don't think that 10 wins is going to be enough. I tend to think it could be, but I mean, then again, you got 3 playoff spots. The Vikings already have 10 wins, and they're in one of those wild card spots. The Packers have 9 wins. They're already in one. So you're talking, the good news for Washington is they have a 2-game lead. So the next team up is one of the NFC West teams. Currently, the Seahawks are 7-5, and they hold the third place, division winner spot. But the Cardinals and the Rams are both 6-6. You're also going to deal with one of the NFC South teams. Falcons are 6-6. Bucks are 6-6. So you have practically a 2-game lead over all these 6-6 teams as you sit at 8-5. I guess a game and a half. They're going to be playing mostly next week. You're not. So we'll see where it is by the end of next week. But those teams are going to have to finish 3-1 down the stretch, really 4-1 because they got 5 to go. Commanders have 4. They finished 2-2. Then they would be sitting on 10 wins. And, for instance, you lost to Tampa earlier in the year. You beat Arizona, so that'd be nice. So we'll see how this goes down the stretch. Atlanta could certainly fall if Tampa rises, and then you have a game head-to-head where you can probably knock the Falcons out of the playoffs in Week 17. So there's a lot of football still left. A lot of reasons to be focused on the task at hand. Just go do one at a time and start with that in New Orleans. Hopefully you have Marshawn Lattimore making his return down there, and that'll be obviously our topic of conversation most of next week. This week, we're looking back at Tennessee, do a little self-scout later in the week as well. But up next, Michael Phillips. Really, this is all on him because Phillips disappeared from the press box for a couple weeks. Commanders lost a bunch of games. He came back. Bang, bang. Commanders are awesome. So we'll see why Michael Phillips thought he was allowed to not show up for work. And we'll also talk about what happened when he showed up. Next, on the Hoffman Show. It's the Hoffman Show. We're on the Team 980. We are always live as well on the free Odyssey app, streaming live on YouTube at the Team 980. And it is just after 5 o'clock, meaning it is time on a Monday for a Michael Monday. It is time for Not My Beat.
Today's top story from the perspective of someone who's there.
You are looking live.
This just in.
Not My Beat.
Michael Phillips joins us for his weekly visit, a visit that's actually been delayed because I wasn't here a couple Mondays ago, and then last week we had this crazy short show, but even though our show is short today, Michael is back. And Michael, people don't need to know where you've been on the show, even though I just told them. People need to know where the hell you've been at Northwest Stadium, because you missed a couple of games, and then things went sideways, and then you show up yesterday, and there you are sitting to my left, and 42-19 later, bye-bye losing streak. Is this as simple as just getting you to show up to work?
I think sometimes you feel underappreciated, and so you say, okay, I get that. Like, people are saying, oh, it's Jaden Daniels, he's doing good things, or, oh, it's Dan Quinn changing the culture, whatever. And so I think I kind of had to show everybody, and I won't do it again, don't worry, but I had to prove my point that MP in the audience is a major factor each week in who wins and who loses these football games.
Okay, well then let's get. You said you're not going to do it again. Are you committing to being at Northwest Stadium? Also, are you going to any of the road games for the rest of the season after the bye?
I will not be in New Orleans, but if we want to pass the hat around, I'm certainly not opposed to going to New Orleans, Craig. It would be no major inconvenience for me. If your listeners wanted to fund a trip to get me down to New Orleans, maybe throw a little something in so I could have something to eat. You know, I know it's not much of a food town, but I could probably find something to make do.
Yeah.
We could find a way.
Michael, do you think that perhaps the listeners would make that a class field trip? That the two of us, I would even tell our boss at Odyssey, like I would do some of Michael's show with him, and Michael can do some of my, like if the listeners and the bosses want to send us to New Orleans, Michael and I will make it worth everybody's time. That's all I'm saying.
Burden we're willing to carry. I do need to note, though, my mojo may not work down there. Last time I was in the Superdome, Josh Norman was getting torched by Drew Brees on his way to setting the record for all-time passing yardage.
I do remember that game. I was also at that game. Commanders haven't had many good trips to New Orleans, but then again, the Commanders haven't done much good over the last decade and a half, and this year's a little bit different. What impressed you most about yesterday, besides your own attendance?
B-Rob, man. Brian Robinson being healthy, running over people, and it's cliche, but that's how you're going to win games when it gets cold here, right, is being able to run the ball, establish the run. Loved Cliff Kingsbury's schemes getting him open. Titans seemed to play right into it early. You saw a lot of counters, and the O-line was so good, right? It's all part and parcel of the same thing. You had a lot more John Bates yesterday in there blocking. We can talk about that. I think he's probably a little underappreciated. But you get Cornelius Lucas on the O-line. They don't miss a beat. I think Biotish is amazing. That first touchdown run, they pick up the stunt perfectly, throw the hole open. B-Rob goes sprinting through it. You see that burst. That was everything I wanted to see. You throw in Terry catching a pass from the right side on the first play, right? That first drive was somehow everything I wanted to see during the 3-hour game condensed into a nice, tidy 3 minutes.
Yeah, the fact that I kind of forgot how quickly the B-Rob thing happened. Like, I was watching the tape back. I was like, oh, right. It was the third play of the game that he scampered for 40 yards. I think there's so much to talk about with this offense, obviously, and just how dramatically different that it looked. I think the Robinson element is probably the biggest. Like, if you rank Jaden's health a healthy and productive right tackle of some variety, whether it was Wiley or Cornelius Lucas, all due respect to Trent Scott, not Trent Scott is kind of the point here. And then Jaden's health, B-Rob, anything else. Like what to you is the biggest thing that changed that you're really hoping? We need this thing to stay right the rest of the year.
It's health is crucial, and the bye week is going to help. Obviously, it's a good time for a bye week. A couple weeks ago would have been a good time for a bye week too, but now's as good a time as any for a bye week. This is not a team that has had the opportunity to build depth over a series of years, right? They will. Adam Peters will build depth and is actively building depth, but this is not a team that's positioned to withstand losses the way some of your elite teams do over the course of a season. This is a team that's still growing and figuring out its roster and needs to make quite a few draft picks to replenish the cupboard. You think about, with Forbes being cut, all the first rounders are gone now. That opportunity to build depth over a period of time has not happened here. And so it's maybe more important for these guys than other teams, not to suggest there aren't areas where they have depth. You saw that with Lucas. You saw that with Chris Rodriguez. But on the whole, this is a team that's still building out its roster and will be for a little while.
When you think about how Cliff calls games for the rest of this season, and obviously we can talk about next season or however long he's here at some later date, but just for the rest of the season with this group, is there anything that you really want to see early in games? Because I think the other common thread of some of their blowout wins, as we're talking with Michael Phillips, MP on the mic, 10 a.m. to noon on 910 The Fan in Richmond, which you can also listen to on the free Odyssey app. But when you talk about their blowout wins, Michael, they get up early. Their defense can play differently. They're forcing a lot of teams that have bad quarterbacks or questionable quarterbacks at best to throw the ball a ton, abandon the run, and that just all of a sudden the points start to stack. So knowing that you have to get up early, if you're Cliff, does that change anything for you and what you would be doing approach-wise for these final 4 games of the season?
Well, each game is going to be its own thing, too. I think this is a fascinating final stretch. Real big picture, I think 10's the number. I do. I think if they get to 10 wins, they're probably in the playoffs or more likely than not in the playoffs. It's obviously not a guarantee, but I'd feel pretty good if they could get to 10. So you got to split. If you need to win in Dallas, you need to win in Dallas, and that's a game that I would expect them to take care of business in, especially after the loss here. That leaves you the other 3, New Orleans being the best opportunity there, Philly being a team that's very much still playing for the bye. That's going to be a tough one. But then that Falcons game is fascinating. I don't know who Atlanta's quarterback's going to be. I don't know where they're going to be in the standings. I think that's just an all-timer of a December game here where both teams are going to have something on the line. You're going to have so many storylines. There's going to be a lot of different wrinkles there. Now, you mentioned, right, needing to strike first or strike fast. I did love how they finished the game off yesterday, right? When they get the touchdown in the 4th there to seal it with Chris Rodriguez. They did hold them, I felt, at arm's length late, which was nice because when Tennessee cut it to 28-10, then got the ball back and it looked like they might have a scoring drive, only turned into 3. There was certainly that nervousness that, are we going to have a tight finish here today?
Sure. But then they are able to just continue to ride it out, and the game is actually never within striking distance for Tennessee, which was nice. And they've had a couple of those, like even the Giants game, obviously their last win before yesterday. The Giants kind of kept it close, but they never had the ball with a chance. And obviously that game could have technically been a blowout win. I can't remember what the threshold is, but the Commanders have about as many as anyone in the league, and they could have had one more because they took a knee on the 1-yard line at the very end of it. When you talk about the Final 4 here, what's the thing that you feel most confident in with this team, and what's the thing that you have the biggest question mark about with this team?
It feels like cheating, Craig, to say my biggest question mark is the kicker because they need a new kicker.
By the way, did you see that they signed Zane Gonzalez? I'm not pulling your leg. They signed Zane Gonzalez off the practice squad. He's going to kick for them.
I hope they pull his leg, make it a little longer or something, whenever he needs to make some field goals. No, I hadn't seen that. That's not really the update I was hoping you would give me here.
Nope. Sorry. I just delivered the news, Michael. Don't hate the player, hate the game. Don't shoot the messenger, all of those.
I will not.
Thank you.
All right. So that's not a question mark.
Oh, no, it still is a question. It's very much a question mark, Michael. It's just we know the current kicker. It's still a question mark. It's not who is the kicker. It's Zane Gonzalez? Question mark.
Zane Gonzalez? Question mark. I like that. The strength is number 5. It's Jaden Daniels. It's his ability to deliver in crunch time. If they're close, I love that kid having the ball and making throws. That second touchdown to Terry yesterday to make it 28-0. What a beautiful throw that was. I mean, when he's on, and I know he had an interception. I know they're there are throws he wants back. But he's still playing at a really high level, and he's added the running back into his game. And that's ultimately the kind of difference maker you need in these big games, coming down the stretch. My question mark is probably defensively how they're going to hold up against the run. They're going to face some teams with some really good backs. You're looking at back-to-back weeks of Saquon and Bijan, who are both outstanding. Can you get that defense holding up late in the season, late in games to deliver the stops you need to get? I think that's a question mark for me.
All right, last thing for Michael Phillips, maybe. And I say maybe it's because you tend to know these types of things, so I'm going to pick your brain while you're here. And if you don't, you're like, actually, I don't know that, then we're done, Michael. Do you know the flex rules for Week 17 and what can and can't be flexed?
That's the Atlanta game. That game can go to. I'm sorry. I'm just making sure you were talking about the Atlanta game, right?
This is the Atlanta game. So there's like 6 games or 5 games that are date TBD, but there's also a set schedule with a bunch of games that kind of suck.
We are in the potential Saturday window. They will choose 3 games to play on Saturday, December 28th, and we are in the group of 5, of which 3 will ultimately go to Saturday. I do think that you've got some. I don't know if they're all duds. I think Broncos Bengals is maybe. You got a little star power there. You got a couple of quarterbacks.
So the games that are currently on that flex list are Denver at Cincinnati, Arizona at LA. That one's going to get flexed. Chargers at New England. Maybe, but seems unlikely. Indianapolis at New York. They want to flex that one to the moon. And then Atlanta at Washington. My question, though, is can also that game potentially be flexed to Sunday or Monday night?
It can, and I'm looking at the schedule here.
Because the Sunday night currently is Miami at Cleveland, and that's a hard pass. And then, frankly, Monday night, Detroit at San Francisco, with the way the Niners are going right now, if I'm ESPN and I can get Atlanta, Washington, I think I'd much rather have Atlanta, Washington.
I think that I think Lions Niners has a fighting shot to stay because you got Detroit's star power there. They seem to be moving the needle. They may be playing to lock up the bye in San Francisco. I agree with you. Dolphins Browns is coming out of Sunday prime time. Cowboys Eagles will stay. That game will get protected. You have Packers Vikings earlier that day, though. That is a juicy one. Could definitely see a scenario where Packers Vikings moves its way to Sunday night prime time. My best guess would be it ends up in a Saturday solo window, maybe the Saturday prime time game. I know nobody likes coming out on a cold Saturday night, but if I were to take a guess right now, that would be my guess. Would be you'd end up Saturday night.
Yeah, I think that's a good guess. I think my guess rankings would be Saturday. Yeah, probably Saturday night. But that Arizona LA game, if they can get that one later in the afternoon, they might put that one at night and then the Washington game in the middle, that 4:25 window or that 3 o'clock window, however they do it. It's a weird. That Saturday is always kind of weird, funkily timed. And they've had some great games, by the way. That a couple of years ago, that was the Vikings 30 whatever point comeback against, I think it was the Colts. So they've had some good games in that window on that Saturday. And if I'm Washington, I would much rather play on Saturday and have a week and going into week 18 probably than Monday if I got to pick a short week somewhere. But obviously if they can get Sunday and we'll see if it's Sunday night or whatever, that's certainly gonna be an interesting one to watch. All right,
I want to say because we've been in that Saturday flex window a lot the last few years, and this may just be my memory being faulty. I feel like every time they've been in that flex window, they've ended up going to Saturday.
I don't remember any Saturday games recently, but my brain is broken, Michael. So who knows?
You raise a great point. Cardinals Rams, of course, is the only West Coast game of the group, so you would have to play that at 4:30 or 8. I would love. I feel like I would love a Saturday game in the sense of the other team's got to travel on the short week. You get to reload, get ready for that finale in Dallas where you're probably going to need to win to clinch. It does feel advantageous for them to play earlier that week.
Yeah, for sure. And apparently, I'm reading Pro Football Talk. That decision might come out today or tomorrow. I think the decision is due today. This is 20. Or actually, was written a couple days ago. So I assume this comes out like tomorrow. Very, very soon, because it's a 28-day window to flex games. So unless there's special rules for week 17, I do think that we're getting that very soon. So TBD, but we'll have the way this works is the second you hang up, Michael, we're going to get the news.
I got to look at the kicker news. The only one they can do on 6 days notice is week 18. Obviously, those are all fully TBD, and that might also be a compelling reason to not take the Commanders to Monday night, because that Commanders-Falcons game may decide if the Falcons and Bucks are playing for a division title in week 18, and you wouldn't want to leave that kickoff time and TV hanging in the air until Tuesday, because that domino could knock over a bunch of other ones.
That is a great point as well. I think Sunday night's potential in play there for sure. I think Minnesota Green Bay is probably the most likely game that gets flexed into Sunday night. Put the Commanders on Saturday, but I think that's definitely possible. Okay, that's enough television talk. Michael Phillips will be back on your radios tomorrow. You can listen to him on the free Odyssey app. Just search 910 The Fan. MP on the mic, 10 a.m. to noon. Michael, thank you for your expertise all around, and of course for your attendance.
My pleasure.
All right, that's Michael Phillips with us here on the Team 980. When we get back, let's kick that around a little bit more. Maybe take a call or two at 301-230-0980, and then we'll go around the NFL on a wild Week 13 at 5:30. It's the Hoffman Show. We're on the Team 980. We're always live as well on the free Odyssey app, streaming live on YouTube at the Team 980. It's a Tell the Truth Monday, so we try to squeeze in as many calls as we can at 301-230-0980. And got some on the call screener. We don't see it very often. Let's go to Marcus. Marcus, you owe the team an apology, is what I'm being told. The floor is yours.
Yeah, apologies are definitely in order. I've been hard on them recently because, B-Rob went down and then everybody's like, it's because B-Rob went down and the offense is struggling. And my eyes, I feel like, everybody gets paid, so the next man should step up. But then B-Rob comes back and 3 plays in, he rips off a big one and ends the day with 100. And it's like, okay, I apologize. I'll have to bite that one. That's my bad.
So, Marcus, what did we learn from this situation?
We learned that the Commanders' offense is a lot stronger with Brian Robinson Jr. in the lineup. That is very true. Apologies are in order. I truly apologize for that.
Okay, I think that's good. I think the other lesson we should learn, Marcus, is that good players are better. And sometimes this very silly game that we all love comes down to the fact that when the best players are on the field, it's a hell of a lot easier to play good football. And I think we've all done it. And I totally get what you're saying. And I think sometimes, especially in long seasons, we lose track of that. Marcus, I appreciate the call. That was funny. Way to be a good sport about it. Yeah. Shoot real quick.
Hey, did I hear right? Are you at the games?
Yeah, I am at the games. The home games, anyway.
Are you... Well, yeah, home games. Are you anywhere near Keim and JP and Big Man?
I was literally sitting right behind John Keim yesterday. Were you one of the people that was yelling at Grant Paulson?
That was me. But I'm there at the game, and I can never see the second row. But now that I know that you're there, I'm gonna try to. I'll put it on my phone, and I'll call you Hoffy so you know it's me.
Okay. All right. That sounds good, Marcus. All right. Thank you, Marcus. Marcus was he had the attention of the press box yesterday as things were getting out of hand late in the game. Marcus, thanks for the call. As for Marcus's larger point, that's really funny. On longer seasons when guys have been out for a while, we almost take for granted. It's like, oh yeah, well when they built the roster, they expected RB1 or wide receiver 1 or whatever, and just dudes that are better create better results. And it's not exactly, the world's most insightful analysis, but if you call the same play for Austin Eckler versus Brian Robinson on most plays is going to get you a better result. Then there's another set of plays that's much smaller but tailored to Austin Eckler, where Austin Eckler is probably going to get you a better result. But those plays are harder to execute, and they come at times that perhaps Brian Robinson is better to set up at. And just kind of the down-in, down-out nature of the NFL. If you have a guy like B-Rob who can get you yardage and that defenses treat differently, that opens up your zone read game. It opens up everything else, and you saw that come to play yesterday. Let's go to Willis. I will skip the what you talking about, Willis, or what do you want to talk about, Willis joke, so you're welcome. And what you got for us on to Tell the Truth Monday? Just
Hello?
There we go, Willis. All right, you're on the radio.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. No, what I basically wanted to talk about is the game yesterday and how we did an excellent job. We ran the ball. We did. I think we are making it to the playoffs. I really think that we are. But and Jaden Daniels played a good game yesterday.
Yes,
I think.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Willis. He definitely did. Was very, very efficient. I think there was a couple times in the game where he maybe could have had some bigger completions if he was a little bit more patient on some stuff. But I also get if we have a completion now when we may have a bigger completion later. For the most part, just getting the good completion now is the right play. What, Anthony? Do I hear I hear myself talking in the background? What is happening right now? Is there something happened on this computer back here? That's playing. Hey, me over there on that computer. Shut up.
I was confused.
I was like, why do I hear me in the background? Is this the show? Nope. It was I got the YouTube stuff over here because we got a lot of moving parts. And that shouldn't happen. That should be muted while the thing is on. Talk to engineering about that.
I think that's smart.
Yeah. Oh, there's Tom. Tom's smiling. He doesn't know that we're talking about him. I'm going to have to go get Tom. Hey, Tom. Need you coming here. Fix the old speaker. Anthony's giving Tom a wave. Hey, buddy. All right. Well, we're going to go talk to Tom. Make sure that doesn't happen again. And when we get back, we'll do things we're good at. Like talk about football games. Not engineering. It's not rocket science, nor rocket surgery. We go around the NFL next on the Hoffman Show. It's the Hoffman Show. Just till 6:15 today. Coming up in 45 minutes, Hoyas, UMBC, Georgetown basketball here on the Team 980. But right now, it is time for us to go around the NFL and hit the rest of the games outside of Washington and Tennessee. We'll obviously be talking about that game a little bit more during the show, and we're going to talk about the Emmanuel Forbes situation at 6 o'clock, and then tomorrow dive back in even deeper, including a ton of your calls on a Vibe Check Tuesday, starting right off the top at 4 p.m. But it is time to go around the NFL. We review our picks, and we talk about each and every NFL game, some more than others. Before we get to the games themselves, Anthony, what were our records coming into this week on the picks side of things?
So, Craig, you had a 3-game lead over me.
That's it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Good job out of you.
Hold on. 108-54 for you.
Yep.
105-57 for me.
Okay. It's pretty good for both of us. Picking at like a 60. What'd you say I was?
3 games.
No. What was my actual record?
108-54.
108 plus 54 is 162. Remember that number, Anthony.
Yep.
108 divided by, it was 162, right?
162.
I mean, I'm picking literally at a 2/3 clip.
Oh, that's
66.7%.
So for every 2 games you get right, you get a game wrong.
Yes.
Nice.
Pretty good. All right. So we picked these games last Tuesday because some of these games were on Thursday. One of the games we are going to talk about at a little more length here is the first game of the weekend, Bears and Lions. We both picked the Lions, I do believe. Mark that down for 1-0 for the both of us to get started this week. And, oh, man, I want to say the Lions got lucky. They certainly got out to a phenomenal start. They were up 16-0 at halftime, exchanged touchdowns in the third quarter, and then they give up 13-0 in the fourth quarter. The Bears are driving. There's about 30 seconds left in a running clock. The Bears have a timeout, and they run one more play. That was the last play that Matt Eberflus was the head coach of the Chicago Bears for. And that is 1,000% the correct call. Eberflus's record in close games was horrendous. And the problem goes beyond the actual performance, Anthony. Like, the thing about Flus, who's clearly a very, very good defensive coach, a very good defensive teacher, is he kept defending these indefensible decisions, which to me says you really don't get it, bro. Like, you really don't understand that this is not the right answer. If you think that allowing the 13-yard play before the Hail Mary, before Tyreek Stevenson is yapping to the crowd and Jaden throws the bomb in the Washington game is the right thing, that it really didn't matter, that tells me you need to either re-examine and learn some things, or you're not good enough to be an NFL head coach. And then to go down and manage that situation. Did Caleb manage it terribly? Yes. Caleb, apparently, I don't know if he thought they had no timeouts, but there was a call that came in. He didn't like it. He thought that we need to get towards the end zone, where the right play there is just get as many yards as you can over the middle of the field as quickly as possible. Bang the timeout. If you want to then take a shot, okay. If not, just kick the field goal, get to overtime. And instead, Caleb's changing the play. And the second that happens, Matt Eberflus needs to go, no. Because with 30 or even high 20s, you can complete a ball over the middle, run up, and spike it. Like, you have time for that. So is it optimal to burn the timeout? No. But you got to bang the timeout there. Don't let your rookie quarterback, who, by the way, is in his first game with his new play caller, a guy who, by the way, has now elevated from whatever he was before Shane Waldron was fired, to interim offensive coordinator, to interim head coach, Thomas Brown. You got to save that guy. That's your job as a head coach, to manage that situation. It is a joke that he came up afterwards and was like, yeah, no, I thought we played it right. Just, Caleb. No. And by the way, apparently he had the same message he's had after all these other close losses in the locker room. And Jalen Johnson, their veteran corner, absolutely lost his mind. Good for Jalen Johnson to just go, no, the same message is not correct because we keep getting the same result. You keep messing this up. We're playing well enough to win. You are screwing us. Stop screwing us. And so eventually Ryan Poles and Kevin Warren, their team president, with the McCaskies, make the decision. The fact that they have Eberflus do the press conference the day before, we're still in the meeting. What meeting? Have the meeting the night wasn't that the first, or no, it was at least the second game of the day. That meeting needed to happen Thursday night. Do what they did to Jay Gruden. Sorry, Jay. And fire him at 5 a.m. the next day. Fire him that night. Hey, Matt, we'll let you come address the team tomorrow. We'll let you clean out your office. But, like, we're done here. Thanks. Thanks for everything. Have a great Thanksgiving. If you had maybe called a timeout, we wouldn't have to fire you. Freaking Thanksgiving. It's a joke, man.
Yeah, too many times this season they had these late game debacles. And I think you always talk about it with Cliff and Dan Quinn, how good they are when it comes to situational football. This guy, if there was a report card, would get an F-, Craig.
F-, minus.
Yes. He is terrible. Too many times. The Vikings, the Packers. Like, come on, dude.
And, like, okay, you get a field goal block. That's unlucky. But, like, his record, I want to say it's like 2-15 or something.
It's real bad.
It's terrible. And to defend that, it means you're not up for the job. And I think it's a good reminder that being an NFL head coach is extraordinarily multifaceted. It's really hard. There's a schematic element. There's a leadership element. There is a how do you deal with live stress and situations and clock ticking element. And Flus is good at some of that stuff, but he's clearly not up for the other stuff. And if he wants to ever be a head coach again, he needs to do what DQ did. He needs to do a full review of himself, have people be honest with him, be very different in his next stint, because I do think he will potentially get another chance because he's going to be one of the best defensive coordinators in football next year if he wants to take a year, maybe it'll be 2 years. He can coordinate defense. He's an excellent defensive coach. So he's going to pop back up in the way DQ did. But if he does not review himself, he is going to fail spectacularly again as an NFL head coach. And the Bears as an organization, oh man, that's a rough one. To have the ability to get in a new head coach for Caleb Williams, and instead you trust him for one more year, and then it blows up in your face like this. And you fire a head coach for the first time in your franchise's 100-plus year history. That is a rough look for Ryan Poles as the GM, for Kevin Warren as the team president. I understand why they did it, but damn, that is one that blew up in their faces big time.
Not good, Craig.
Not good. By the way, the Lions are 11-1. They've won a million games straight, and if the Eagles forgot how to lose, or didn't forget how to lose, then they would easily be the best team in football and would be locked up almost for the freaking 1 seed. Although I guess there's a couple other teams that are floating around at 10 wins. Minnesota's got 10 wins in their own division. Packers have 9. We'll get to them in a moment. Giants, Cowboys. Nothing to see here. Giants still suck. The Cowboys are still mediocre, but they're good enough. That play by Demarion Overshown was sensational. Rico Dowdle again over 100 yards. Giants 2-10. Yikes, babe. Packers 30. Dolphins 17 on Thanksgiving night. I mean,
they're not good in cold weather, Craig. They're not.
It certainly doesn't appear that way. Even though Tua throws for 365, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Even though Jonnu Smith's got 10 for 113, Tyreek's got 6 for 83. Like, they passed the ball a ton and thus accumulated a bunch of yardage. But, like, it wasn't very efficient, and they could not run the ball for jack diddly poo, which is a huge part of this Miami offense. Raheem Mostert, 5 carries, 19 yards. Devon Achane, 7 for 14. Tua's got 2 for 6. They ran the ball, including Tua scrambles, because I'm pretty sure those Tua runs were not designed, 14 times. That ain't gonna work. That means you are behind. That means you are trying to just chuck it all over. Green Bay got up 14-0 early. They're up 24-3 at the half. All that yardage really gets accumulated in the second half. Packers are good, man. And if Jordan Love can stay clean, they're really, really good. And he was 21 for 28, 2 touchdowns, no picks in this one.
I mean, I don't have anything to add. I just knew for a fact.
Yeah.
They were going to get their ass whooped.
They sure did. That's 3-0 on Thanksgiving for both of us?
Yes, sir. All the home teams won, baby.
And we got 4-0 because I'm pretty sure we both picked the Chiefs over the Raiders.
Yes.
Speaking of defensive coaches who do not understand how to manage situations. Here's the thing. I thought some of the decisions Pierce made late in the game were okay decisions in terms of when to kick, when to go, like whatever. You can't burn extra timeouts making those decisions. Like, the timeouts are too valuable to have to say, we're going to do this. Nope, bang a timeout. Now we make the right decision. Is that better than making the wrong decision? I don't know. Those decisions are often 55-45, and making the right decision without an extra timeout could actually be argued as harmful as making the right decision or making the wrong decision in the first place. So, like, there are decisions late in this game where they don't even get a shot, and then the game ends on a total wacky where they jump off sides because the snap gets summoned, the quarterback's not ready, and they call an illegal shift instead of a false start, which I believe is the right call, by the way. I don't think that was messed up. Yeah, no, I mean, just because the quarterback's not ready doesn't mean everyone else is. Why would that be a false start?
Okay. I thought it was a false start.
But who's the false start on?
The center?
No, the center was set.
But I guess
if the center, like, the quarterback saying set hut does not start the play. The snap does. That's why you can do multiple. That's why you can go on two. Set hut.
So can centers not false start?
They can, but if they twitch and, like, fake a snap and try to draw someone off sides, that's a false start on the center. Or sometimes if everybody goes but the center, they'll call it on the center.
Okay.
But the center snapping the ball when the offensive line and most everyone else is set, when the quarterback isn't ready, isn't a false start on the center by the rules. By process, it's a false start on the center. But that, like, just because the receivers were moving and were not set, the O-line was set, the quarterback was set, then he started barking out signals elsewhere and wasn't behind him. That is the correct call. It is an illegal shift because the two receivers weren't set. They were still moving at the snap. And that sucks. It's a crappy way to lose, but it's the correct way. Or it's the correct, not the correct way to lose. It's the correct call.
I don't know what the Chiefs have done, man, but they got some good juju on their side. They should have lost 5 games this season.
It
should have.
Absolutely.
But they didn't.
Wild. We were talking on the First Impressions show on YouTube earlier today. Tony was like, last year was the worst Chiefs team that we've ever seen, and they won the Super Bowl with Mahomes. This year they're worse, and I'm going to pick them to win the Super Bowl because clearly, like, you just bet on Mahomes, and eventually you wind up being right. All right, we'll get to the Sunday games next as we go around the NFL on the Hoffman Show on the Team 980, always live as well on the free Odyssey app. It's the Hoffman Show. We're on the Team 980, always live as well on the free Odyssey app, streaming live on YouTube at the Team 980 as we go around the NFL and get to the Sunday games after we spent a little time talking about the Thursday games and specifically the Bears' decision to fire Matt Eberflus, which wasn't much of a decision, yet one they took way too long to make, which was very awkward for everybody. On the picks front, both of us 4-0 through the holiday games, 3-0 on Thanksgiving, 1-0 on Black Friday. We also got Titans Commanders correct as we both picked Washington.
Yeah.
All right, so that is 5-0 as we get to the rest of the games on Sunday. Chargers 17, Falcons 13. Oh, Kirk. Not one, not two, not three, but 4 interceptions for Kirk Cousins. Are we seeing the end of the Kirk Cousins era? Are we going to see Michael Penix sooner rather than later, Anthony? Like week 17, Falcons Commanders. Both quarterbacks are healthy. Which one's playing?
Depends if the playoffs are on the line. If they are, we'll see Kirk.
You
if
think
not,
they're going to stick with him?
Yeah. I mean, they're 6-6.
I think they probably think they can be better than 6-6, and he just threw 4 picks. I mean, it depends on how Penix is practicing.
Yeah.
But I think that, Kirk is obviously struggling coming back off that Achilles, and it's not thank God they drafted Penix. I mean, at this point, it might wind up being that. But that's an indefensible decision ever because they either should have done one or the other. But now that they have the option, they might as well utilize it. I mean, they just can't get the ball to their guys in a way that turns into points. I mean, they got to – and it's crazy because offensively they actually put up some numbers in this game. It just shows you how valuable turnovers are. Bijan ran for 100 yards, 26 for 102, 3.9 a carry. It's not spectacular, but they had over 100 yards rushing. Ray McLeod's got a 60-yarder, so he has 95 yards. Drake London, 9 catches for 86. Bijan's got another 33 yards receiving. They moved the ball, but you have to finish drives with kicks at the very least, even if they're punts, control field position. Instead, on the offensive side, Justin Herbert throws for 147 yards. The Chargers, I beg your pardon, rush for 56 yards, and they won the football game.
Wow. Hey, pick sixes will help.
Yeah.
Pick sixes will help.
Yeah.
I really think the Chargers are the Commanders of the AFC. They'll win games, but they don't beat the big dog. They don't beat the Chiefs. They don't beat, the Ravens and things of that nature. And it's sort of kind of like the Commanders.
Yeah, so far. I do think that that's a team that's still building its roster in the way that they want to in the long term, and that all tracks. I just think the Commanders are just so much more potent. I don't know how the Chargers score 40 in a game. The Commanders have done it twice this season.
True.
Speaking of scoring 40, what the hell got into Russell Wilson yesterday?
Man.
Oh, my God. 44-38. I picked Cincinnati in this game because I thought the Bengals were going to put up serious points. Okay, Russell Wilson, I see you. 4-14 for Wilson. 4-14. This Bengals defense is terrible.
Mr. Unlimited. Let Russ cook, man. He's cooking. He is cooking.
I mean, they basically said, who was it? It was Najee last night on Football Night in America on NBC. Was like, we were planning on running the football a lot, and they just played all this soft zone, or they played all this tight coverage, and we were like, okay, well, we'll let Russ cook. Yep. And that's basically what they did, and cook he did. 44-38, the final score. Vikings 23, Cardinals 22. On a key 4th and 7 in this game, if you were the Arizona Cardinals, Anthony, who would you make sure you cover for the Minnesota Vikings? Who do we have to double? Who do we have to make sure can't just pop open on an 8-yard curl route?
His name is Justin Jefferson.
They let Justin Jefferson catch an 8-yard curl. Kept the game alive. Darnold completes the comeback. 23-22. Aaron Jones touchdown is the winner. Late pick by Kyler Murray to seal it, kind of in desperation mode. Cardinals dropped to 6-6. Vikings are 10-2, Anthony.
Yes, they are.
They're 10-2 and second in their division.
I don't know how they're doing it, but they're doing it.
Aggressive defense, high variance quarterbacking coming up the right way enough times. Speaking of high variance quarterbacking,
Oh, my.
Drake May versus Anthony Richardson was a wild one. The Colts get the late 2-point conversion to get the win, get a late penalty, if I'm remembering the game correctly, to help extend the drive, and then ultimately get into the end zone, and then correct decision. Good for Shane Steichen to go, I have a 6'5", 240-pound human tank, and I need 2 yards to get the win. And they gave it to the tank, and he ran some dudes over.
Man, that game was crazy. Joey Sly had a chance at a 68-yarder, though, Craig. And when I tell you,
it was good from 65.
My eyes are glued. I'm standing up like, no.
Here's the thing, though. I know Sly's got a big leg, and that thing was on target,
looked
too.
good.
He hit the goalpost. That's how even it was. From 68 with Drake May, it's like a 55-yard throw to the end zone. Just throw the Hail Mary. Like, what's a higher percentage? A Joey Sly 68-yard field goal, which to me, unless there's a 20-plus mile per hour wind at their back, has a chance of 0, or a Hail Mary, which has a percent of 1. But you could also get a PI or something silly. I would have just thrown the Hail Mary. Now, both of them are incredibly low likelihood, but...
But do you trust Drake May to buy time?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
He's very good at that, and he throws like he could be running backwards and throw one, just like jump past a 180 and somehow get the ball there. His arm is crazy.
Yeah.
Seahawks 26, Jets 21. Highlight of this one: Leonard Williams, the longest pick 6 in the history of the NFL for someone over 300 pounds.
Yeah.
A 92-yarder that he gets as a zone dropper. Anthony, not a tip ball situation. No, he dropped out into coverage, picked off Aaron Rodgers, and then had a convoy down the sideline for 92 yards. Revenge game for Leonard Williams, although I guess, just kind of his old stadium revenge because he was a Giants player back at the Meadowlands. And then Geno Smith, true revenge game. Geno, 20 of 31 for a touchdown as Aaron Rodgers continues to play terrible football and the Jets continue to lose.
Happy birthday, Aaron.
Happy birthday. 41 today and doesn't look a day over 70. Texans 23. That was, by the way, as a football player. Texans 23, Jags 20. Unfortunately, the story of this game was the vicious hit on Trevor Lawrence. That's going to be a suspension probably for Al-Shaair. The good news is that he was remorseful after the fact, that it clearly wasn't intentional. It wasn't like, oh, I'm going to get him. The bad news is this can't keep happening. We can't have quarterbacks when they're sliding getting smashed, and this is why you have to suspend him. You have to send the message that how can these guys, it happens so fast. It does happen fast. But if you think a quarterback's about to slide, you better not hit him. And the reason why is because you don't want a dude laid out like this. He's a human being. And, something that we just don't I know how some people are going to hear this and they're going to be like, oh, that's soft. They're football players, whatever. Rachel and I were talking about this last night at the dinner table after I got home from the game. And she goes, I swear to God, if you were a football player and someone did that to you, someone would have to stop me from doing something horrible. And think about Trevor Lawrence, think about his wife watching that. And that's why that hit, that's why he has to be suspended. Is because I want defenders going, I can't do that to another human being. I know it's football. I know it's tough. I'm not trying to, I know you can't injury-proof football. That hit we can take out of the game. That hit, that is potentially permanent brain damage. We can't have it. And so, Al-Shaair, he'll get suspended. He apologized, and good for him. And he will serve his suspension, and good. And by the way, the players union better not appeal the suspension. Why? Because it happened, something that happened to another player. Your job is to protect players, and Trevor Lawrence is also a player. NFLPA, please do not appeal the suspension when it comes, because that is also your job. Rams 21, Saints 14. Puka Nacua, nice easy screen pass touchdown. And anybody better at throwing those little quick sidearm screens than Matthew Stafford?
He can just do it all.
Slanging it. Rams, by the way, today claim Emmanuel Forbes, so very, very interesting to see if he can revive his career out in L.A. Saints, of course, are the Commanders' next opponent. They lose, so the Riz, well, so much for them having a revival under him. They're at the Giants next week before hosting Washington on December 15th. Arguably the game of the day in the NFL? Bucks? Panthers? What? Yeah,
Yep.
this game was bananas. Bryce Young looked to win it with about 30 seconds to go. He is playing outstanding football right now. That would have been his 5th game-winning drive. 5th. He was benched earlier this year. They've only won like 5 games with him as a starter. Game-winning drive, raced. Baker Mayfield able to get him in field goal position. They go to overtime. Chuba Hubbard looks to be getting the Panthers in field goal range. Fumbles. Buccaneers get a second crack at it. They get the win, 26-23. They are 6-6 and somehow tied for first in the division. Eagles 24, Ravens 19. What do the Ravens do with Justin Tucker? A question we never thought we'd have to ask. But in a game where they lose by 5, Anthony Tucker misses 2 field goals.
Man, they hooked too. Like, I don't know, man.
That feels like the kind of thing that Tucker you think would be able to figure out, but he's 35 years old, and dudes don't kick. I mean, some Adam Vinatieri kicked forever.
Yeah.
But
and
Tucker, yeah, I mean, maybe he figures it out. Maybe he's having a bad year. But Tucker is having the worst year of his career. There's only 2 teams actually in the NFL that are worse in EPA loss to missed field goals. It's the Falcons, and I can't remember who else it is. But it's actually not the Commanders. I thought they might be on there, even though they've survived some bad kicking games. But yeah, Eagles 24, Ravens 19. The Eagles defense is absolutely insane, and they just wear on you. You know Saquon Barkley is going to get a late touchdown, and he's either the MVP right now or it's Josh Allen, who smokes the 49ers on Sunday Night Football, becomes the first quarterback in NFL history to have a rushing, receiving, and passing touchdown in the same game. The receiving and the passing touchdown on the same play where he throws a quick screen to Amari Cooper. Cooper pitches it back as he's getting wrapped up to Allen, who for some reason decided that was a good idea to run over and be like, hey, pitch it. And the reason was it actually was a good idea. Scores it 35-10 the final. The Niners, by the way, are out both their starting running backs for the rest, or probably the rest of the season. Certainly for Christian McCaffrey, PCL injury there in the knee. Jordan Mason has an injury. He's out at least 4 games as he's been put on IR. So things going from bad to worse, insult and injury for the San Francisco 49ers. That's our trip around the NFL. Quick talk about Emmanuel Forbes and healthy scratch yesterday. Fedarian Mathis, 2 more of Ron Rivera's high draft picks on the outs in Washington. That's how we wrap up the show. Next, before we give way to Georgetown basketball here on the Team 980. It's the Hoffman Show. We're on the Team 980. We're always live as well on the free Odyssey app. Streaming live on YouTube, too, at the Team 980. And we wrap up the show today in the next 5 minutes or so, as we will be giving way to Georgetown Hoops here on the Team 980. Tomorrow on the show, Eric Flack is going to join us because just saw that he has confirmed that there are meetings today on Capitol Hill, including not only Josh Harris, but NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell. Last week, sometime in the last 2 weeks, the Commanders were able to push the stadium, or Steve Daines released his hold in the committee on the RFK site. So now they're just trying to get it through the full Senate here in the lame duck period, which would transfer the RFK land back to the District of Columbia. Flack is all over all the details. We will get that from him tomorrow. So look forward to that on the show. Mitch Tischler in his usual spot at 5. Anything else we got? Our tier rankings, Anthony.
Yes,
tomorrow.
Sir. Yep.
Anything else that's on the docket? Jaden Daniels tape Tuesday, 5:30.
Yep. I think that's tomorrow.
Vibe check
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
And Dave.
Oh, and the Wizards play tomorrow.
Yep. NBA Cup, baby.
They're already eliminated.
I know.
Who they play tomorrow?
Is it the Cavs? We play the Cavs tomorrow. And we play the Mavs on Thursday.
Oh.
Yeah.
Are they really gonna go 2-18?
I mean, when you go winless in the month of November, I think it's a possibility.
Yeah, it is definitely not ideal. By the way, Monday Night Football tonight, Cleveland at Denver, which means, of course, that Jason Kelsey is on Monday Night Countdown in a bolo tie because they're out in Denver. Because of course he is. I got the Broncos tonight.
We both have the Broncos, but I am hoping we get a Jameis Winston pregame interview.
I
am.
I know.
Selfishly.
I can't stand that.
I know you don't want to, but I would love to.
I get the appeal. He is objectively, if you just forget that he sucks, a funny person. But I don't know. I just feel like we're all kind of laughing at Jameis. I don't know that he's in on the joke. That makes me a little uncomfortable. It's like, no, dude, you're not cool. We actually think you're kind of a clown. So there's that. I'll talk about the Manuel Forbes thing in a second. Just a lot of housekeeping here. What was the other housekeeping thing I need to do? Oh, I was going to tell you, Anthony, by the way, just because we were talking about picking this game. If Denver wins by 6 or more tonight, they're -5 when Tony and I picked it last week. That is another 10+ win week for me against the spread.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah. I'm currently sitting on 9-6.
You're killing it. And you probably won competition Wednesday too.
We'll find out on Wednesday.
I think you know though.
I may know.
Exactly.
I may know. I may have sneaked a peek.
Good riddance.
I will spin the wheel Wednesday because I owe the show a spin. Right? That's
yes, you
spin
do.
For me.
Yes, you
so
do.
I will spin the wheel on Wednesday. I might not be the only one spinning the wheel on Wednesday.
So I'll spin it first, and then we'll bring the wheel over there so it can permanently stay over there. Because I think that's why. It's been over here too long.
I mean, it was over here for a week, and then I sent it back. You all right? You almost fell out of your chair there.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. We have a minute left in the show. We didn't have time when the segment started because we went too long on Around the NFL to do a full Emmanuel Forbes take. So we'll take care of that business tomorrow. Here's what I'll say. The fact that the Washington Commanders are currently a 8-win football team that can go 2-2 down the stretch and potentially be a 10-win football team, while they have their last 4 first-round picks not on the team. One of their second-round picks in that time was a healthy scratch yesterday, is a bleepity-bleeping miracle. You're not supposed to be able to do this. When we talk about how it's going to take a while to dig out of the hole from a talent perspective, that is why. And it is really hard to do because the contracts for veteran players are more expensive. Like, you need good, cheap talent in the NFL, and that's what rookies are. And the Commanders' best ones, the guys that are supposed to be the best ones, aren't here. All right, that's the show. First, an update on the world of women's sports from Wawa.